Hi, this is Roger the Wise. This will be the September 2020 reading for the sign of Leo. And that's if you have a sun in Leo, if you have moon in Leo, if your rising sign is in Leo, or if your part of fortune is in Leo, or if you have a bunch of planets in Leo as well. Just going to shuffle the cards. As usual, I'm going to do a Celtic cross reading. Yeah. And I'll also roll the astro dice, so to get the astrological influences as well. They're happening for Leos in September 2020. Um, okay. Um, Astro dice. Yeah. And the astrological influences for September 2020. Okay. Jeez Louise. Okay, the astro dice for this reading um, is the astrological influences for September 2020 for Leos. Um, And also, I'll preface this by saying that this is a general collective reading for Leos. And as I explained in previous videos, um, probably around 25% of the population has a sun, moon, or rising sign in Leo. So this is not everything's going to apply to every single Leo. You know, some of it's going to apply for some people, and a lot of it's going to apply for some people, and less of it will apply for other people. Those Leo placements, right? So take what resonates and leave the rest. Yeah. And also, I have a link to, I have my email in my description of the video. So if you're interested in a private reading, which would be done via Skype, um, where it would be a lot more specific because it would be tailored to you specifically, right? And your situation and whatever it is you're asking, um, then shoot me an email. Yeah. Wait, Isis. Um, anyway, the astrological influences for September 2020 is the Sun in Sagittarius in the 10th house. And what does this mean? Well, the Sun is your ruling planet, Leos. Um, well, your ruling body, because it's not a planet, it's a star, right? But it's the only one in our solar system. Um, and you're the only sign that's ruled by a star. Well, not in Aries, which is ruled by the sun by exaltation. Um, so yeah, what this means is that the sun in Sagittarius in the 10th house, the sun represents the spotlight being on you, and this that delineation, that the meaning of that is essentially doubled by being in the 10th house. The 10th house is one of the two most powerful houses out of all of them, along with the first. Um, so the 10th represents like your public image and persona, and how the world sees you, how society sees you and all that. Um, so Leos during September 2020, you're going to be in the spotlight. And especially that's intensified even more so with the sun being in the 10th house in Sagittarius, because the sun doesn't rule Sagittarius, but it rules it by triplicity, which is a lesser dignity. So in the daytime anyway. But so the sun is actually, it's pretty decent in Sagittarius. It's better than most of the signs. Is than most of the signs, unless it's like Aries or Sagittarius, which are the best signs for the sun. Um, so yeah, this indicates that you're going to be like the sun in the 10th in Leo, or in the sun in the Sagittarius in the 10th house. It represents that during September 2020, Leos, you're going to be in the spotlight, and people are going to be noticing you. It indicates that you're going to be more prominent in your community, in your to to people, to groups, to um, organizations, to um, your larger world as a whole, right? Um, so, and the sun being in the Sagittarius in the 10th, it represents that you're going to be, you know, you're, that you're going to be, um, um, during September 2020, flamboyant, uh, authentic, real, energetic, uh, doing a lot, very active. The sun in Sagittarius in 10th, that's a very active placement. It represents that you're going to be have high energy, higher energy levels than normal, um, perhaps in better shape. You're going to be more attractive and more magnetic than usual. Um, uh, and you're going to get like more recognition and more respect, um, more acclaim than usual, likely. This represents these astrological influences. It represents, that, September 2020 is perhaps, your time to shine. Yeah. So um, make the most of it, like, um, um, you know, put on your best face and, show it to the world, right? And yeah, show the world, the best of you, right? Show the world who you are. Yeah. Anyway, what we have here is hmm, hmm. For the first card, we have the Eight of Cups. I'm using a different deck today. I'm using the Witch's Tarot, which is pretty good. Yeah. Um, the Eight of Cups is your present card, which is card number one. Anyway, what this indicates is that going into September of 2020 for Leos, it seems like some of you are leaving something behind, um, or you're gaining distance from something. You're moving on from something. It seems like. Um, Perhaps some of you are putting the past behind you and starting anew. Um, this could be a relationship. This could be a situation. This could be circumstances. Um, this could be a move. This could take on a number of different like scenarios. Um, it could be an idea that you thought was true, but it turns out wasn't. It could be hmm, it could be or diet or lifestyle. Uh, it could take any number of those factors. But essentially, what the general theme is that in September of 2020, going into it, Leos, they're leaving something behind, and they're moving on from something, or they're putting the past behind them in some way, or gaining distance gaining psychological distance from something or some idea or some circumstance or some person or something like that, right? So that's the first card. The second card, if this spread, is the Queen of Wands. And the second card of this is what surrounds you during September 2020. I mean, geez, look at her. She's pretty sexy, eh? The characters in this deck, they're a lot more realistic looking than in other decks. So this is a particularly sexy Queen of Wands. Um, anyway, um, what this indicates is that during September 2020, for Leos, is that for some of you, surrounding you. That's what that card is. It's the surrounding card, what surrounds you during the month. And what energies or what circumstances or what person. It could take any, those forms. And depending on what card it is, you could take, it's more likely to take one of those than the other generally. If it's a court card, then it's more likely to be a person. If it's one of the numbered cards, then it's more likely to be a circumstance of some sort. Um, and if it's a trump card, then uh, it's hard to say. It depends on the trump card. The trumps are kind of special. They're not they can't be categorized or generalized quite like the other cards in the deck are. That's why they're trumps. Anyway, yeah. So what does this mean? This indicates that during September 2020, for Leos, there's likely going to be a person surrounding you that's going to be influential in your situation. And this person is more likely going to be a fire sign woman. And she's likely going to be um, in her 30s upwards, but she could be in her 20s, but she's more likely to be in her 30s. The queen of a suit. There are four court cards in each suit, and there's the page, there's the knight, and then there's the queen, and then there's the king, right? And the queens and the kings, they're generally older people. They're generally older, more established people, like 30s or 40s or so, um, or perhaps older as well. Sure, yeah, as well. But a king or a queen could also be a person younger than that as well. It just depends. It depends on their mentality. Yeah, it depends on how mature they are and how and also like how established they are, and the aggregate of those factors, right? Their position, their talents, their level of skills and stuff like that, right? Um, but generally, it's the queen signifies someone a bit older, somewhat older than 30, right? 30 or over, but it could be someone younger. And it would this person would be probably a woman. It could be a man too, but it's more likely to be a woman for most of you. Um, yeah, like I said, she could be probably 30 or over, but she could be younger. It just depends. And this woman, she'd be attractive, um, sexy, um, impulsive, impulsive, but with um, a fair bit of maturity too. Um, not not impulsive and immature, but probably impulsive and at least somewhat mature. Um, she'd be energetic, sexual, um, charming, um, um, influential. Um, yeah, she'd have those characteristics. And if it's a man, if it happens to be a man, which it will be for some of you, that man would have those characteristics. Oh yeah, intuitive as well would be Queen of Wands. Um, mhm. um, Moreover, she could have some sort of position or status in society as well. He or she. Um, Again, she's depicted in this deck as well as having an animal too. She's the only card that's depicted as having an animal, the Queen of Wands. She's pretty famous for that, actually, the Queen of Wands, for having an animal. So it could be an animal owner. Um, yeah. Moreover, it could be, for some of you too, it could be that rather than this card embodying a particular person in your life that's become more pivotal, it could mean that these Queen of Wands characteristics are becoming more activated inside you and are being expressed by you more so during September 2020 as well, which means that you could be for Leos in September 2020. You could be sexier, you could be more attractive, you could be more charming, more influential, more energetic, more intuitive, more and have more status as well. Yeah, so it depends. Yeah, but for most of you, I'd say that it would be a person that would be embodying this, and for some of you, it would be a person and yourself that's embodying these qualities. And for some of you, it would be yourself that's embodying these qualities. Right? But probably for the majority of you, it would be a person, I guess, that would be that would represent. Anyway, um, we have for the crossing card, we have what crosses you, which is card number 3. We have the Knight of Pentacles. And this card indicates a person. It could indicate a person. What I'm receiving, what I'm getting from this is that for roughly half of you, it's going to be a person that's crossing you. And for roughly half of you, it's going to be characteristics that this card represents that's going to be crossing you rather than an actual person. Um, and then for some of you, fewer still, there's going to be, it's going to be both. Um, so the Knight of Pentacles, it's this is pretty cliche, but it's the slowest moving knight, right? It's he's grounded. He's he has some maturity to him. Um, um, he cares about things that are tangible, and that's what he focuses on. He doesn't really. He's not big on abstractions. He's not. Uh, he wouldn't be a person who's has their head in the clouds. He wouldn't be like some bohemian artist or something like that. He wouldn't be the Knight of Pentacles, or a person represented by the Knight of Pentacles. He wouldn't be an eccentric genius. He's generally a person that's grounded in the material world and he cares about consensus opinions. He cares about facts and data rather than emotions or impressions or speculation or theories or things like that. He cares about what's proven or what he thinks is proven and what's tangible to him, what he can sense, what he can see, what he can feel, what he can touch, taste, all that stuff, right? Smell, all that's right here. He's very attuned to his senses, and that's how he processes the world, right? So with this card crossing you, Leos, during September of 2020, this indicates that a person, most likely an earth sign person, or a person with earth sign characteristics, perhaps is going to be crossing you or impeding your progress or slowing your progress down somehow during September of 2020. So it could be a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. One of those signs, someone with their sun or their moon or a rising sign in one of those signs. Or it could be a person, who doesn't have those placements, but simply has the earth sign characteristics, right? Of being focused on material reality, grounded, sensual in their body, all that stuff, right? Um, Focused on money and finances, stuff like that, security and all that jazz, slow moving. Yeah. So for some of you, this is going to represent a person, an earth sign person with these characteristics that's going to be crossing you or blocking your progress or impeding you somehow during September 2020 or slowing your progress down. This is a slow moving night. So I'd say he'd be slowing your progress down, but you wouldn't be stopping it. He or she. It could be a man or a woman. It depends. Probably more. I don't know. It could be a man or a woman. I'd say. Yeah. And for some of you, some others of you, for others of you Leos, it could be that in whatever it is you're trying to do or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish or achieve, whatever your objectives are during September 2020, your progress in those areas will be slower than you'd like, perhaps. Yeah. And that's what this card could represent as well. But conversely, on the bright side of things, your progress may be slow, but it may be it'll be if it's signified by this card, the Knight of Pentacles. It represents that the progress will be lasting and real. It'll be progress that's a strong foundation that you can build on. It's something that it'll be something that's concrete. Progress. It's something that um, that you can that you can count on. That won't be something that's progress made and then a little while later it's disappears essentially. It's it's a slow progress, but at least it's a tangible progress, right? And it's a solid progress. It's a firm foundation, even though it's perhaps slower moving than you'd like, right? So, and for some of you still, it's going to be the combination of those two things, where would be an earth sign person with the Knight of Pentacles characteristics, who's slowing or impeding your progress somehow, but not stopping it. Um, and also it would be those characteristics within your circumstances as well. Perhaps your project that you're working on, or your job, or whatever it is. Maybe your relationship. It doesn't. It could be for. It could be. It's going to be something different for many of you, right? Perhaps it's moving along not as fast as you'd like it to, but it's still going to be moving. It's still going to be moving forward because the Knight of Pentacles does represent progress. It's just a slower but more more tangible, more solid progress than perhaps other cards would indicate, right? Anyway, for card number 4 for Leos in September 2020, this is the foundation card, which is the Four of Swords. This indicates that during September of 2020 for Leos, it's important to get rest. It's important. It's important to take breaks and to chill out and get your sleep. Get your 8 hours of sleep, 8 to 9 hours, or at least 7. 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. And really try not to get less than 6. Take time out to meditate and quiet your mind. Take time out after you've done some work, right? Take mindfulness breaks. Take and don't work yourselves to the bone, because it's important for your foundation, because this is a foundation card. It's important to get your rest. It's important to recharge your batteries. It's important to um, get your sleep. It's important to um, do this so that you can recharge, right? So that you can be just as productive tomorrow as you were today, right? Because if you don't do those things, then your productivity and your effectiveness and whatever it is, things that you're trying to do, um, they're gonna your productivity and your effectiveness is gonna reduce over time if you're not getting adequate rest and sleep and nutrition and all that stuff, right? So it's important that you're well rested and during September, and it's important that you give your body the nutrients and the rest and whatever else it needs so that it can recover and so that you can recharge your batteries so that you know so that you can retain the same vigor tomorrow as you had today, right? Because a Leo without vigor is like, geez, doesn't make sense. It's like it's kind of like an oxymoron, right? Anyway, so card number 5, we have the world, and card number 5 is what's behind you during September 2020. So the world in the past position, that would that would mean um, geez Louise, voice. Drink some water. Okay. Anyway, yeah, what we have here is the world in past position. This means that leading up to September 2020 for Leos, is that likely leading up to September, you were in the spotlight somehow. You were in the world stage somehow, and that you're more connected to larger society as a whole, your community, your city, the world stage. For some of you, this could indicate like internationally as well, like um, perhaps business meetings in foreign countries, stuff like that. Uh, Business meetings, coronavirus, right? So perhaps business meetings, more business meetings with uh, foreign countries, via video conferencing, stuff like that. Um, Perhaps deals that were multinational, or for some of you, deals that were business arrangements or business meetings that that were on the world stage, right? And that were significant or um, um, impactful, that impacted a lot of people, or where you interacted with a lot of people, or where you were in the spotlight somehow through in the eyes of a lot of people, and that you're pivotal somewhat in terms of um, being in the spotlight, being uh, or playing more of an important role in the world stage, than usual, or being more your actions having more impact in the world, or um, being seen as more important than usual, or something like that. It could be any number of those factors, but essentially what this indicates is that going into September 2020 for Leos is that going into the month leading up to September, you were more so on the world stage. Perhaps you had more influence in the world stage. Perhaps you're more influential in the world stage. Perhaps you're more in the spotlight than you usually are, and perhaps your circumstances um, were tied into more people than they otherwise would be going into September 2020. So yeah. It also represents that going into September 2020, that for Leos, that there is a completion of some sort, or graduation, perhaps moving to a higher level, essentially like a promotion, um, obtaining a degree, the completion of some circumstance, situation, um, perhaps for some of you moving to the next level in a relationship. Uh, Something important, involving large institutions, or established institutions as well. Um, any number of these factors, depending on which Leo you are. But yeah, any number of these factors could have been something that led you up to this month. Anyway, for card number 6 for Leos, we have the Ten of Swords. And yeah, this has been popping up in a few readings. I think it popped up at least in one reading. No, I think it popped up in 2 readings that I've done for this month. So it's a popular card. Yeah. It's definitely not one of the most positive looking ones, that's for sure. Jeez Louise. It's probably the least positive looking one, I'd say. It's pretty nasty looking. In this deck, it's no different. It still looks pretty nasty. But in the crowning position, this indicates that for Leos during September 2020, that it indicates for some of you that the worst could be over. That whatever has been happening in the past for you, um, going into September 2020, that could be over during September 2020. The worst of that could be over. And you can be moving on from that, and have a fresh start, and renewed and renewed circumstances, renewed um, yeah, better circumstances. Um, uh, for some of you as well, this means that something not so great could happen during September 2020 as well. You know, but it depends on which Leo you are. And this card, it does represent, it's the card number 6. It represents what crowns you. So like I said before in other readings, the crowning card, it's an energy or an archetype or a circumstance or something, or a person or a situation of some sort that that may happen but may not. It's something that's kind of up in the air, and it's kind of and it's dependent on your choices and how you act and present yourself and all that stuff, right? Whether it happens or not, and what exact way that happens too, right? So I'd say, if I can't speak for all Leos, but I'd say that um, if you do your best, to make the right choices, and to follow whatever advice you see from this reading, hear from this reading, then it's probably more likely that the worst will be over, during or September 2020 at some point, rather than the worst happening. But I mean, if you make all the wrong choices and all that stuff, then the worst could happen, right? So it depends. There's free will to this, right? But yeah, based on the other cards in the spread, because the reading's good. It's a good reading. It's a good reading. This is a good reading. Like, yeah, it's quite good. From the astrological influences to the cards and the card positions, not every card is positive, but most of them are. It's a pretty good reading, actually. So it's, if this looks like your opportunity. It looks like it looks like a good month for you. So make the best of it, and don't make the worst of it. And it looks like you're going to get good results if you do the former rather than the latter, right? So, but anyway, for the near future, we have the Six of Swords. So this is something that's going to happen somewhere roughly around the middle of the month, around the middle of September for Leos. And the Six of Swords is a positive card. This indicates that during the middle, somewhere around the middle of the month for Leos, this card can represent healing. It could represent, if you're going through health problems or something like that, it could represent healing. It could represent, it could represent leaving like a toxic situation behind. It can represent, a move. It can represent gaining psychological insight. It could represent moving away from something that's not good. It could represent moving away from an unhealthy or toxic situation. It could represent a toxic or unhealthy situation ending. A toxic or unhealthy situation or circumstances ending. It could represent travel over water. It could represent travel of some sort, like a short trip, or generally a short trip. A shorter trip it would represent. For some of you, it could represent helping another person, move on from something, helping another person travel or move, helping another person gain psychological insight, helping another person heal, or other people heal. Could take any number of those factors. So it's a positive card in the middle of the month for near future circumstances, which is good. This is probably the best read. I'd say, this is the best reading so far for any of the signs I've done so far for September 2020. So Leos, you're lucky. We're lucky. Leo rising. Anyway, well, maybe we're not lucky. Maybe we just worked hard for it and just maybe we're just awesome. But anyway, We have card number 8, which is the moon. So card number 8 is the card which represents how you should present yourselves during September 2020. Um, so the moon there, having that is how you should present yourself. Um, well, that indicate that for some of you, you should present yourself as being intuitive, receptive, um, sensitive, empathic. Um, for some of you, it should represent that some of you should present yourself as being confused or having been confused. Um, for some of you, you should present yourself as um, not having all the information that you need to make a decision. And for some of you, you should present yourself as not having had all the information you needed to make a decision or to make a proper decision. Um, yeah, for some of you, present yourself as having been in the dark, yeah, or being in the dark. And for some of you, it would present yourself as, present yourself as um, moving forward and having faith in spite of uh, not having all the answers. You know? For card number 9, we have the High Priestess, and card number 9 is how other people see you, Leos, during September 2020. So this indicates that during September 2020, that other people see you as highly intuitive and sensitive and receptive, empathic. Um, for some of you, people see you as a channel, um, a conduit for ideas from higher planes or higher realities or higher entities to come through. Essentially, you, for some of you, people could see you during September 2020 as being, yeah, a channel for higher entities or higher forces or higher knowledge to come through. And for that you'd be, that some people, for some of you, you'd be seen as being like a messenger, a spiritual messenger, of being an oracle, someone who foresees the future, someone who forecasts the future, someone who knows things without rational thought, or ideas and impressions. So for some of you, you'd be seen as highly psychic, highly psychic. Um, and but for basically a lot of you, you're going to be seen as more intuitive than usual. Um, and for and some of you, not all of you though, but some of you will be seen as like basically clairvoyant. Um, some of you could be seen as an intermediary of the gods. or an agent of theirs of some sort. And some of you could be seen as healer, as a counselor, as a keeper of higher wisdom, keeper of knowledge. Um, and for some of you, it could be a lot of those descriptions, or even all of them. But for most of you, it'll be some of those descriptions. And like I said, take what resonates and leave the rest. But the High Priestess is ruled by the moon. Its attribution is the moon. As you can see, there's a crescent moon at the bottom of the card. So with that being said, for some of you, you could be seen as more mutable or changeable as well. More because the moon, as it goes through its phases, it signifies different things, right? And so people could see you as being emotionally more changeable than usual as well for some of you. It's more emotionally pliable or emotionally, yeah, that'd be the okay word for it. Perhaps for somebody more emotionally erratic. Yeah. Anyway, this is card number 10. The 10 of Cups. Card number 10 is the 10 of Cups. Well, I think that's funny at least, but yeah. I laugh at all sorts of things, so like that. But anyway, we have the 10 of Cups here for card number 10. Card number 10 represents your fears regarding your fears, your primary fears during September 2020. So the 10 of Cups, it generally represents a family. As you can see, there's the husband and the wife, and there's the rainbow overhead that they're pointing towards, and there's the 3 kids there in front of them, right? So it represents a happy family, right? So it's a positive, it's a very positive relationship card. It signifies a marriage. It signifies like a higher level of commitment, like say going steady, or hey, will you be my girlfriend, right? Stuff like that, right? Um, you know, it generally represents commitment of some sort, um, or the beginning stages that could lead to a commitment. If it's in the initial like stages of like dating and stuff like that. It also represents obviously like families and um, having children, stuff like that. So with that being said, for Leos during September 2020, it seems like your biggest fear is perhaps entering into a relationship. For some of you, for others, it would be your biggest fear would be starting a family. And for others still, perhaps your biggest fear will be moving to the higher level in an existing relationship, right? So if you're casually dating, maybe your partner wishes to um, be exclusive with you, right? And, for some of you, that would be your fear, would be taking existing relationship to the next level. You know, and for some of you others still, it could be that your biggest fear is marriage, right? If that's what your partner wants, right? Um, so um, it could be any number of those things, and depending on which Leo you are, you'll probably be one of them. And another possibility that this could take is that your biggest fear could be regarding your home life or a family, your family life, stuff like that. But for most of you, I would say that it seems like your biggest fear during September 2020 would be probably a romantic relationship, either starting one or taking it to the next level in one, or something like that. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. It seems like definitely some of you would be scared of like getting starting a specific relationship, or that would be causing you anxiety. Um, anyway, the final card is the Four of Wands. No, this is a good card. This is a really good card. This is a really good card. So anyway, the final card. This is card 11. Um, and that's the final outcome. So roughly around the end of the month, around the end of September, there's going to be either a celebration or something to celebrate for Leos. Because this card, one of the primary representations of it is a celebration. You know. As you can see, there's, yeah, they're depicted as women in this card. So there's four women um, celebrating around these wands, right? Yeah, see these four women, they're dancing around these giant wands, right? Which, yeah, I'm not gonna go further into that than just pointing that out. But anyway, yeah. But this card could represent a relationship, a new relationship. It could represent taking a relationship to the next level. It could represent marriage. It could represent party, celebration, um, gaining status. It could represent a victory. It could represent potentials, like beginning to manifest, um, or manifested potentials as well. Um, it could represent a better home life. Um, that's kind of interesting because this card, this is the last card of the reading, right? The final outcome. So this represents, a lot of the same things that the previous card did, which were the fears of the situation, which are the fears that are present during September 2020 for Leos. So having this card here, which represents a lot of the same things as the previous card, in the final outcome position, it looks like some of you are going to be getting over your fears, um, whatever they may have been. They're signified by the previous card, the Ten of Cups, right? And so it seems like a lot of you, maybe if you're scared of a relationship, maybe you'll start one anyway. And maybe if you're for others, maybe if you're scared of taking a relationship to the next level, well, you do it anyway. And it seems like you know, and it seems like based on this final card that making that choice and taking that leap of faith will actually be fruitful and be a good decision and to be something that you won't regret, right? Um, yeah. Um, it seems like based on this last card that you're going to be happier by the end of the month, than you were in the beginning of it, you know, and that you're going to have more cause to celebrate, you know, and that more than one person may be involved too, maybe several people too. Um, yeah, but overall, yeah, this is the best reading of the month so far for any of the signs I've done. Um, it's a pretty good reading. Um, just to reiterate, with the astrological influences at play, um, like I said, you're going to be in the spotlight during September 2020. Um, there's going to be a lot of eyes on you. The sun in the Sagittarius in the 10th house. So keep that in mind. You're gonna be on the public stage. You're gonna be in the spotlight. In the like Tupac said, right? He said, "All eyes on me," right? You're gonna have all eyes on you in September 2020 more than usual. Um, and you're Leos. We're Leos, right? We like, you know, we do well in the spotlight. Even those of us, that don't necessarily um, appreciate it as much as um, the next Leo. um, yeah, Leos, we're kind of built for the spotlight. Ruled by the sun. We're kind of the center of everything, center of our solar system and all that jazz, right? Just like the sun. So yeah, it seems like based on the cards in here, and based off the astrological influences, it seems like this is your month to shine. And it seems like it's a good yeah, it's a pretty good it's a good reading, and yeah, there's nothing really else to say. um hmm. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that comes up. Hmm. We have we have two swords, no, three swords cards. We have hmm, we have two wands. We have two cups, one disc, one pentacle. I mean, um, so all the elements are basically in here. Um, um, I guess since there are more swords cards, it might be an idea, to think a bit more rationally, if you can, right? About things. Uh, but beyond that, it looks pretty good. Um, oh yeah, hmm, based off the sun being the primary factor, and it being in Sagittarius, and there's a few wands cards as well. I'd say it's a decent idea. Get your exercise into that during the month too. Stay in decent shape so that you have the energy, because it looks like you're going to need the energy this month. But like I said, it looks like things are going to play out well. So it's just you just want to have your vigor and your energy and health and all that, so that you can make it the best of the opportunities that are present, and to um, yeah, show the world who you are, and put your best foot forward, right? Anyway, um, yeah, that's a pretty good saying for this month, actually. Put your best foot forward, because it's like I said, you're going to be in the spotlight this month, so it's kind of it's a good idea, to um, interact well with everyone you meet, and to treat everyone with kindness and respect, and basic dignity and respect as a human being, as a fellow living being, right? Um, but beyond that, yeah, that's really all I have to say. Um, have a good month, Leos. Um, and yeah, if you're interested in private reading, my email is in the description. So yeah, so have a good one. Signing off.